So this is the AIWA EXOS 10. It has built-in Bluetooth, FM, and USB. Right now you're hearing the Bluetooth. Here, this is the power button. We have an auxiliary headphone out jack. We have some preset buttons here for radio tuning. You have a scanning system for radio, and you have this giant volume knob and multifunction knob, really. This is the spectrum display. You also have some meters on the left and right. Really amazing volume out of this. And I actually have the bass turned up, so we'll show you how to do that on this system. So here we have a function for treble and function for bass. You simply hit this button in, and you can adjust the amount of bass you want. I'm going to go back. We have also spectral VU, software version, alarm clock. Let's put it on radio for a minute. So we can connect a USB stick, but we can also charge the phone with this. And I found that hooking up the antenna, you have to kind of spread it out. It comes with a wire antenna. And so the antenna plugs into the back here. So it has an input for the antenna, an aux input, the power input, and the power on-off switch. And it has this nice closing hatch here, which closes completely when there's no cable connected. This is where I have the cable situated right now. It also comes with this strap when you want to carry it out and about. It's fairly heavy, but it also has these nice gripping handles here. It's a very sturdy and stable looking unit. When I was using it in various applications, there wasn't a lot of excessive vibration coming from the unit itself, but you will find that things tend to want to vibrate in general around the system because of these subs built into it. You also have some passive radiators and all this kind of stuff coming out of the speakers, because you have one main, I guess it's a sub speaker, and other ones are sort of just driving the signal. You also have this power cable, the remote. So the remote is very handy because it has the functionality sort of ready to go, so you don't have to worry about scrolling through menus, so you can quickly get to tonal adjustment, volume adjustment, scanning through the tuner, muting, things like that, or just jump right into the menus. And that's very convenient to have available. So we'll dig a little deeper into the menu here. So here we would set the preset for the radio station, which I've set 5 using this method. More about FM and BT mode, which is Bluetooth and radio. The line in aux mode, basically that just switches the input to whatever the appropriate signal you're trying to use is. Party sync when you want to link up 2 of these units together. Clock for setting the clock, obviously. Alarm for setting an alarm. You can choose whether or not to have the VU show or the spectrum show, or have them both off to conserve battery. You do have to have this unit plugged in while you're charging it, apparently. It also shows you the software version. So, in general, I found the sound of this unit to be really wide open and produces acoustic sounds very well. And when you are in a large space, I have a few examples on my YouTube, it really helps to spread the sound around. Almost reminds me a bit of like how a Bose sort of spreads the sound around the room versus having it just come out of like omnidirectional direction. So it does fill the space that you put this in, and it doesn't just create an isolated sound. And you have some idea of the stereo width just because it's so huge. And you have these 2 auxiliary units to support the bass response, I'm pretty sure. And I was pretty impressed with the range of like dynamics and sound going on in this. And what I'll say is that it does take a minute to set up the antenna, but once you get it going, you should be able to find the normal range of powerful signals in your area. So for instance, I could probably get about 7 or 8 signals very well through this machine. However, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for its radio, but it does produce a really phenomenal sound, and it handles many different styles of music well. And when you're listening to, let's say, a live performance versus production, you'll be able to hear the space around the performers and whatnot, and you'll be able to hear the incidental sounds that they make while they're playing, just because it picks up so much sound fidelity coming through the unit. So that's the gist of this AIWA EXOS 10. I would give this a go ahead and get it because it's a decent system. Now they have very affordable like JBLs and all these kinds of things, and they might facilitate a similar experience, but this is going to give you a little more power, and it has the built-in radio, which is something you see that's missing a lot on these Bluetooth, is they don't have the built-in radio. And the only thing that I would like to see improved on this is a regular antenna built into this, and I might look around to see if there's a way that I can modify it to do that. And also, one last thing I'll mention is that you plug your phone in, and it will charge your phone in that back port area. So that's a very handy feature, because that's one of the issues with using Bluetooth music, is that it really degrades the life of the battery of the phone. And as far as the battery of this unit itself, it depends on the things you have going on and the level of volume, but generally you're supposed to get something like 10 hours of battery, the normal range. And I've already charged it once, and it's still going strong with all that stuff. So here we see the representation of the frequency spectrum. And lastly, I guess I'll just exit with a little bit of music. Let me just pull something up here. So I'll switch to Bluetooth mode.
Pairing. Connected.
And turn up the volume. One last thing I'll mention is that on YouTube, one of the things they do is they decrease the volume of the music of the videos on a lot of the videos that have music. So you may not be able to get max volume if you use YouTube. Is one thing I noticed, but that applies to basically how they treat the audio once it's been imported into their system. But you can alternatively use like YouTube Music or a different streaming platform or other source to get the maximum volume, because you'll notice a giant difference in volume between radio and the Bluetooth. And we'll switch back to radio real quick. Hopefully they're playing a song. I swear they're never playing a song. But anyways.
I'm August. After my wreck, Dan got me a check for 7.
So at 15, it's already very loud on the radio. So that just gives an example. Like I was cranking it all the way and it was very loud, but on radio it already is really, really loud to begin with. So that has to do also with that streaming issue where they change the volume of the video. So I'll leave it at that. And it's a really gorgeous unit. It makes a nice display for your living room or whatever. And it's a nice piece to look at. Very glossy. Very nicely finished and all that. Of course, it wants to attract fingerprints, but oh well. It's a nicely designed unit. So good work on AIWA.